we are going to be looking at the players that I believe are on the roster bubble for the Detroit Lions. Okay, yeah, so in this video, we're going to be looking at players that are on the roster bubble, not necessarily players that won't make the team. So we're not going to throw like a guy like Marcus Cooper on here because I don't think he's going to make the team. That doesn't mean he's on the roster bubble, it just means he's not probably going to make the team. We're also obviously not going to look at players that we're like 100% sure are going to make the team, like Matthew Stafford, right? We're going to look at those players that are on the bubble. Like, they could make it, some people think they should, and other people think they shouldn't. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. If you guys would add anybody to this list of roster bubble players, let me hear those in the comments below as well, because I may have missed a few here. I really tried to think about this one. And also, let me know what you guys would do. Like, would you keep these players? Would you let these players go? So let's get right into it. We're going to start off the list with Theo Riddick. This is an obvious one. We've talked about Theo Riddick a lot. Theo Riddick has come in a lot of debates, like Theo Riddick versus Zach Zenner. Theo Riddick is definitely on the roster bubble. And next up is Zach Zenner. So both of these guys are definitely on the roster bubble. I think the big question is, which of these two running backs make the team? I don't think they both will, but they definitely could. I know some people think that they both make the team. Gridiron Blitz, he believes that both of them will make the team. So that could happen. But I think there's also a good chance that only one of them makes the team. So that would put both of them on the roster bubble. And we're really not sure which one's going to make the team. Next up, I have Andy Jones, the wide receiver. So Andy Jones, I really like what Andy Jones has brought to the team and his abilities, but he just hasn't had a lot of production over the years. He hasn't had a lot of playing time. So he's definitely on the roster bubble, as well as his other wide receiver teammate, that is Brandon Powell. And I know a lot of you guys like Brandon Powell, so you may be like, no, Brandon Powell should not be on here. I understand you guys like Brandon Powell, but I think the Detroit Lions drafting Travis Fulgham and bringing in Danny Amendola definitely hurt his chances. If the Detroit Lions don't bring in Danny Amendola, he has a good chance to be the slot wide receiver. But because they did that, I don't see Danny Amendola going anywhere. I don't see Travis Fulgham, the rookie, going anywhere. So I think that puts Brandon Powell on the list here. Now, I didn't include a guy like Chris Lacey on here because I don't think those guys are necessarily going to make the team. I don't think they're as much on the bubble. I think Brandon Powell is definitely a roster bubble type of player at this point. Also, next up we have Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Okay, so now we're moving to the defensive side of the ball. Jalen Reeves-Maybin is a guy that I'm kind of surprised is still on the team, if I'm going to be 100% honest, but I think he is on the roster bubble. This guy has a lot of speed and athleticism. Problem is he doesn't really fit what kind of linebacker they're looking for. Long, lanky type of linebacker that they've been bringing in recently, that's not Jalen Reeves-Maybin. And maybe they'll keep him around because he's a good player on special teams, so maybe that's the reason why they'll keep him around. We'll have to wait and see, but he definitely is going to be on the roster bubble. Next up, I put Tavon Wilson. I put Tavon Wilson on here because of our depth. We have so much depth at the safety position. I think it's going to be hard to keep all of them right now. When you look at what we have, bringing in Will Harris in the 3rd round, having Tracy Walker and Hunter Diggs is our 1 and 2. Adding Miles Killebrew to that group, which I will talk about in a second. We have a very, very deep safety class, and also bring in Andrew Adams, who I didn't even bring up. He could also be on this list. I didn't put him on here, but he could be on here. So I think there's a good chance that Tavon Wilson is definitely on this, and I actually think Tavon Wilson may have some trade value. We haven't really talked about that a lot. Maybe I'll do a video on trade value players, but I think Tavon Wilson has some trade value. Next up, we have Michael Ford, the cornerback. Now, he came in last year as an undrafted free agent. He did really good things for the Detroit Lions. Nothing spectacular, but he took over that number 2 cornerback position in time of need, and it was pretty solid. Okay, last season we did not have a number 2. We haven't had a number 2 in a while. They have not played up to their potential. We had Michael Ford come in. He definitely helped us out, but I do think he's a roster bubble player, especially if Teez Tabor lives up to all the hype this offseason. He probably will be on his way out. Okay, you got to think we brought in Rashawn Melvin. That definitely hurts. So I think Michael Ford is definitely kind of hoping that Teez Tabor is not going to live up to what we've seen this offseason. That way he can get another opportunity. Next up, I have Miles Killebrew. So yes, I said this a little bit earlier. Miles Killebrew is definitely on this list as a safety. Deep safety class. It's going to be hard to keep all of these guys around. Now, Miles Killebrew has options, though. He could definitely be a linebacker, and he's a solid special teams type of player. He could be. So with that being said, Miles Killebrew could be potentially a linebacker type of guy because of his ability to hit. But if the Detroit Lions feel they're good at that position and they don't need to move anybody over there trying to transform everybody to that position, there's a good chance that he could actually be on his way out this offseason. Next up, Joe Dahl, the offensive lineman. So I had to find an offensive lineman to throw in here. I put Joe Dahl because I was going to put Oday Ibushi, decided not to because we brought him in, and I really think we need to hold some of that guard depth. Now, Joe Dahl is a guy that can move around and play fullback, so that's what definitely helps him, is that he's versatile. But I think, again, with bringing on all these new guys and young guys, I think it's going to be hard for Joe Dahl to make the team. Now, you guys could say, okay, Bo should be in here, or Ryan Pope, but I'm putting Joe because he's been here for a few years. He's not a rookie, so he's not having like that kind of luxury, because usually you don't let go of rookies. It doesn't happen. You try to give him at least 1 year. So I think Joe Dahl is definitely on the roster bubble. Then finally, I threw in this guy's name. I don't know why. You guys have to let me know your thoughts. That is Jamal Agnew. I threw him in here because I've been hearing a lot of talk about Jamal Agnew on the roster bubble. I don't think Agnew is going anywhere. I think it will be our punt returner, and he's a nice depth cornerback. I do not know if he'll be our kick returner, though. I think that could definitely be Ty Johnson, but I'm throwing him on here just because I've heard talk about it. I don't think he'll be going anywhere. But those are my bubble players. So let me know if you guys would keep some of these players, which ones you would get rid of, and also any players that I may have missed out on for this bubble. Also, if you guys want to see some other videos, or if you have some video suggestions, let me hear them in the comments below. Thank you, Brad, for watching, and I'm out.